Greetings squirrel friends to this in-depth and highly detailed upgrade guide for Squirreled Away. Step 1. Use Chatterthang, and until next time, I've been MTG Specs. There's some minutes of the video left. Perhaps I can go a bit more in depth. Today, we will look at 2 upgrade paths for Squirreled Away. 1, you came for squirrels, so I will give you squirrels with Decklist 1 Squirrel Toolbox. Decklist 2 do the token thing with some simply better adjustments. Let's start with why the Odd Acorn Gang is your commander for List 1 Squirrel Toolbox. Evasion on a 5/5 trampling body, 4/5, which can be pumped in 2s by the other nut botherers in your deck. That's a Vulture win, baby, or a go wide win when those squirrels are pumping each other. That's great phrasing there. Note the card draw on the gang doesn't say other squirrels, then recall that they have menace. So win con, check, draw cards, check. I've added Camellia the Seed Miser, who arguably could be your commander also. Mass evasion on squirrels, drops on turn 3, and the ability to sack a food or exile 3 cards from the yard to pump the entire army. This is Squirrelmageddon, though there is only 4 cards that create food in the Precon list, and a couple that create more if you have food in play, so the food for squirrel exchange rate is minimal. And as this is a squirrel toolbox, and I'll introduce you to the other tree rats I've added in a moment after this, I have added Chord of Calling. The deck still has a token sub-theme, so rats and pests and goats, oh my, can help find one of the critter additions when you need them most. Critter additions such as Thornvolt Forager, a Mana Dork and additional Squirrel Tutor, Bloodroot Apothecary from the Peace Offering deck, a treasure for token synergy or ramp, and the perfect antidote to your opponent's clues, food, Eldrazi Spawn, and treasure game plans. Osteomancer Adept, Death Touch, great. Creature recurrence through foraging, excellent. And finally, Valley Rockcaller, a drain on attack effect for our assembled squirrel throng, and with a Maskwood Nexus in the deck, everything is a squirrel, bat, lizard, and rat. And speaking of creature types, I added 2 Kindred cards to increase our draw and support our aggro win con. First, Pact to the Serpent, choose Squirrel, draw a card for each squirrel you control, and Cover of Darkness, recently reprinted in Assassin's Creed, so all your squirrels can no longer be blocked except by artifact creatures or black creatures. My final 2 ins for this deck list, which features the other already assembled Avengers team-up of Draw Squirrel, Army in a Can Squirrel, absolutely terrifying menace bestowing Squirrel, and this, which wins my I Wish This Was Legendary award, Hazel's Brewmaster, the in-universe Shelob that does wacky stuff with your graveyards, and Food Squirrel. Perhaps my playgroup will let me rule 0. No, Specs, you already have 31 decks. The final 2 are both to address the Precon's light touch on ramp. Harvest Season works well, as it lets us search for basics based on the number of tapped creatures we control, and we have a commander that lets us tap our squirrels alongside squirrels that have abilities that need to tap, and Hazel lets us tap token squirrels. And finally, Jaheira, Friend of the Forest. The token sub-theme in this list is alive and well, with 18 plus ways to make tokens. As always, Jaheira is gold star. The outs, and there's cards that have come out of this list and the token focus list I'm about to share with you, so let's do those outs together. Sword of the Squeak, the Power 1 theme is synergistic with Zinnia in the Offspring deck that has very little impact here. Moonstone Eulogist comes out, as the sacking of tokens part only puts counters on the Eulogist and only works when opponent's creatures die. Its effect is less controllable by us than, say, our Ogre Slumlord that creates tokens when any non-token creatures die, and we can control that with Chittering Witch, Plumb the Forbidden, Deadly Dispute, Skull Clamp, so the bat gets the boot. Nested Shambler shambles out of both lists due to being a zombie that is likely to produce us just 1 squirrel. Our power boosting effects focus on squirrels, maybe it has some merit as a sacrifice target, but we needed room, so off it goes. Lastly, from both, Temple of Malady. Why? Could it be my irrational hatred for temples stemming from getting duplicates of them before duplicate protection advanced on MTG Arena? Mainly, we don't need 38 lands, so tap lands get the chop. The solo cuts from this deck list are Gourmand's Talent. We have 8 artifacts, 4 ways to make food, and very little life gain synergy. Good card belongs in the food and fellowship deck, not here. Wolf Willow Haven out to make way for better ramp options, and the rest are the Aristocrat cards we will lean on in the token build. Speaking of, we switch back to Hazel for upgrade 2 and a game plan of Aristocrat tokens and go wide creatures buffed by Beastmaster's Ascension and sponsor smackdowns from Endray's Forerunners. Nadia's Nightblade is lethal in this build. Get a huge volume of tokens in play that sack themselves like food and then pay for themselves using Hazel's insane mana generation. So the token game plan of the Precon is crying out for more ways to make tokens. Of course, we have the best reprint of the year in this Precon, Saw in Half. Previously from Infinity, that can create 2 token copies of a non-legendary creature in the deck. One of the best targets for this is Skyfish Spider, making it into a token that is copyable with Hazel, and every time Hazel copies the token Spider, we can sack a token creature, of which there are numerous ways to create, and destroy a non-land permanent during each of our turns. Back to sacking those tokens, enter Spawning Pit. If you have an existing sack deck, you must get this 2 mana, 3 sack outlet. It even creates tokens for our nefarious purposes. I also swapped out a further land, Necroblossom Snarl, for High Market. More free sack outlet good times. That brings us to 12 sack outlets. And what loves us to sack and create tokens? Mirkwood Bats. Lethal with a capital. Where did my life total go? And it's a bat. Go Bloomburrow. Harvest Season and Fawn Vault Forager both make it into this build too, because we needed more ramp. Fawn Vault can also sack food, taking us to 13 sack outlets. And now I am wondering, how are we going to make loads of food? Well, I'm glad you asked. With Peregrine Took providing second breakfast, and for the common good creating token copies, protecting them and giving us lots of life too. Another way to make a sudden mass of tokens is Azorius Predation. I like the idea of a sudden wave of fighting beasts that stick around to be mana rocks and sack targets. And with all these tokens, Jaheira is back. You should buy her in every version, one of the best cards in the game. Finally, 2 more additions. Propagator Drone. Not only do we get sackable spawns, we give all creature tokens evolve. This is potentially game-winning go-wide stuff. We round off with Revive the Shire to bring back a permanent that dies with a side order of fries. To make room, Squirrel Sovereign, as our focus is less squirrel based. Honoured Dray Leader. As many uncommons are designed, this has a very insular effect which doesn't vibe with the wider team. Took out 1 swamp, and finally Decree of Pain. All the rest of the removal is targeted. There's 12 of those plus Chatterthang. We can stand to lose the removal that blows out our board. This is quite an achievement, powerful straight out of the box and balances 2 themes in an entirely entwined way. It is worth noting this Precon wins the Bloomburrow Most Ready to Win Games Out of the Box award, being the least in need of an actual upgrade. It doesn't have Animated Armies issues with seeing its game plan through Family Matters' steep mana requirements or Peace Offering's complicated game plan. It's 100% the one a player who has the basics down should invest in, and also should be invested in by the player who's been doing this for 27 years. God, I'm old. If you've enjoyed this humble free content today, a like and subscribe would mean the world to me. Check out the reviews and upgrade guides for the rest of the Bloomburrow Precons and my recent live stream where we built a Bloomburrow only Zinnia build. Links in the description for all of those, along with the deck list. We will be back with Bloomburrow gameplay soon, but until then, I have been Lee and this has been MTG Specs.